Welcome to another episode of the Flashback Cartoon Hour. I'm your loving bald host with the most from coast to coast, Nick So Sway Lascola.
Come on, it took me weeks to get tickets for this show. It's Shway.
It's Schwarbage.
And with me today, as we continue our journey through the DCAU, is the one and only.
It's your boy, Santi.
And today we have the pleasure of going over Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond is an American animated cyberpunk sci-fi action adventure superhero television series produced by Warner Brothers Animation. It aired on the Kids WB programming block from January 10th, 1999 to September 4th, 2001, spanning 3 seasons, 52 episodes, 1 direct spin-off series, and 1 direct-to-video feature film. Each episode's runtime usually ran for about 22 to 25 minutes long.
The series was developed by Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, and Alan Burnett. It's the third series to be added to the DCAU after Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series. Writers from the series consisted of Alan Burnett, Paul Dini, Rich Fogel, and Stan Berkowitz.
Returning composers from both previous shows are Sherry Walker and Lolita Ritmanis. They were also joined by composers Michael McCuston and Christopher Carter. The trio of Ritmanis, McCuston, and Carter would go on to compose for such shows as The Zeta Project, Teen Titans, Justice League Unlimited, and The Legion of Superheroes.
I don't think I've seen Legion of Superheroes.
That was a really good one. You should check it out, honestly.
What was that on?
It was on the Kids WB,
Okay.
but it was like later, so like maybe 2004-ish, something like that, 6-ish.
The scene in the TV series opening sequence where Batman is surrounded by all kinds of villains was done by Bruce Timm, who shot it in his kitchen with an action figure twirled around a Lazy Susan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
know,
like
I know what
you
is,
know
yeah.
that exact
Yeah,
scene
yeah.
in the title. Like,
Yes.
down.
Nick, when we first started watching this together, Nick said that he loved the opening because he said it was a very 90s opening.
I mean, it's like as late in the 90s as you can possibly get.
late 90s, where like grunge music was starting to come out.
Yeah, 1990. Did I say the year it came out?
You must have. You were.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
All right. Interestingly, the scope and structure of the city in the TV series is reminiscent of a cross between Akira, Metropolis 1927, Blade Runner, and Metropolis 2001.
2 separate Metropolises. The first one is like a German movie from the 20s about like robots that basically are hiding as humans. It's just a very famous like futuristic city looking type of thing. And then Metropolis, the 2001, is a Japanese anime.
Oh.
That also has
I thought it was Metropolis like Superman.
No. The I'm assuming the 1927 Metropolis, that's what the like original Metropolis from the comics was based off of. Because Metropolis in itself means like futuristic city.
True. The series creators have acknowledged the influences from the anime in general. The city combines film noir and expressionism aesthetics with future tech noir from various Japanese science fiction cyberpunk films. Metropolis 2001 is also another film about an upper and lower class portions of a futuristic city.
Yeah, I meant to write in earlier that like a big part of this show, and the creators talk about it in different interviews, is they really wanted it to be like known that there is a clash of
There's a divide in the city.
Yes, there's the rich and then there's the poor,
Yeah.
and you can tell who's rich villains, who's poor villains, especially with the clothing that they wear. And they made it specifically supposed to be a variation of Victorian, but with like a futuristic twist to it. The WB network never allowed Bruce Wayne's age to be revealed in this TV series because they did not want him to be thought of as old and decrepit. In one episode where Bruce has a birthday, the writer said his age in the initial script, but had to take it out because the network would not allow it to be revealed. The producers, however, said off the record that Bruce Wayne is about 80 years old. So now I figured we can get into the voice actors that made the show what it is. And Santi, why don't you get started with the man of the hour?
Dude, main character Terry McGinnis, a.k.a. the new Batman, was voiced by Will Friedle.
Yeah, you got it.
I don't know about you guys, but I grew up watching Boy Meets World, and he is Eric Matthews, the older brother. You'd also hear him as Ron Stoppel and Kim Possible, both very good shows, very charismatic, very, very good voice actor. And he also played Star-Lord, a.k.a. Peter Quill, in many Marvel animated series, leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, specifically Guardians of the Galaxy, Hulk in Agents of Smash, and Avengers Assemble. He voices Star-Lord and all those. So ever since like the MCU did Guardians of the Galaxy, he kind of does all the animated versions of Star-Lord.
Oh, so he's still voice acting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank God.
And he has a podcast too.
Really?
Yep.
Wait, I think I actually knew that.
Yeah, I think him and Topanga have.
Yeah. You may also have heard him as Deadpool in Ultimate Spider-Man, Lion-O in the 2012 reboot of Thundercats, and also Blue Beetle Jaime Reyes in Batman Brave and the Bold. Will Friedle had never done any voice acting before auditioning for Batman, a.k.a. Terry McGinnis, in this TV series.
Next, we have Bruce Wayne.
Dude. You can't. Why did you write that?
You know what's funny? Is the listeners will never know what I wrote.
I know. Oh my God. Like what the
That was for you. Bruce Wayne, voiced once again by the late legendary voice actor Kevin Conroy. Please check out our Batman the Animated Series episode and Superman the Animated Series episode if you want to hear more about him.
Derek Powers, voiced by Sherman Howard. He's also known for his roles as Lex Luthor in 17 episodes of the 1989 live-action series of Superboy. And he's also the voice of Van Pelt, the Hunter, in the 1996 animated series Jumanji. And also as the voice of Shere Khan in the 1998 straight-into the VHS live-action Disney movie The Jungle Book Mowgli Story. Fun fact, Sherman was cast by the producers after they remembered nearly picking Howard to play the Lex Luthor on Superman, the animated series. Since Derek Powers was an evil corporate businessman, character similar to Lex Luthor, the producers thought Howard would be perfect for the role. This is iconic because Clancy Brown does win the role for Lex in Superman series, and both Clancy Brown and Sherman Howard voice characters together in the Jungle Book Mowgli Story.
Next, we have Dana Tan, Terry's girlfriend, and also the Green Lantern. Both are voiced by Lauren Tom. Lauren Tom is an Obie award-winning actress known for her roles as Ross's girlfriend, Julie, on the classic NBC sitcom Friends, and most recently as Mrs. Tran on Supernatural. Lauren also lent her voice talents to such roles as Amy Wong in Futurama, Number 3 in Codename Kids Next Door.
Why'd you spell number like that?
That's how it's spelled. Angela Chan in Superman the Animated Series. Susan Long in American Dragon. She plays Jake's mom. And also as Ming and Connie, Phone fucked that up. But it's just think of Min and Connie in King of the Hill. Bobby's girlfriend and her mom.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
all right.
You, buddy boy.
Maxine Max Gibson, a.k.a. Terry's best friend, voiced by Cree Summer. Cree Summer Franks is a Canadian American voice actress and singer from Los Angeles, California. She is the daughter of Canadian actor and singer Don Franks. She's most well known for voicing Kida from Atlantis: The Lost Empire, Tiff Crust in Queen Vexus, from My Life as a Teenage Robot. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so Eartha Kitt voices Queen Vexus, but when she's not available, they'll have her voice her too.
Yes. That makes so much sense. Cleo from Clifford the Big Dog. Number 5 from Codename Kids Next Door. Oh, all the way down here. Foxy Love from Drawn Together. Susie Carmichael from Rugrats. Elmira Duff from Tiny Toon Adventures. Penny from Inspector Gadget. And Dr. Penelope Young in Batman Arkham Asylum.
Okay, so
we're going to talk about the pilot now.
We are going to talk about the pilot. We were deciding whether we wanted to put it on our list, but we just decided that
it was just too good. We both wanted to pick it, so we...
Yeah, and it sets everything up. You really shouldn't watch anything unless you watch this show, these 2 episodes, so that you can get the general, because you can watch it basically in any order after these 2.
I was very surprised because they really, when they set up the main villain of the pilot, you really think he's sticking around for the whole series, but they kill him off pretty quick, and I was kind of disappointed in that, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay, so the story starts off in the far-off, distant future of 2019.
Wow, before COVID hit.
Bruce Wayne, the original Batman, spawning a brand new state-of-the-art batsuit, abruptly retires due to a failing heart condition, which causes his rescue of a kidnapped woman nearly to go wrong, and he must resort to almost using a gun to save the girl.
That's
the
right.
ultimate sin in Bruce's eyes.
Yep.
20 years later, in 2039, 16-year-old high school student and former delinquent Terrence...
Why would you call him a delinquent?
He calls himself a delinquent numerous times. He's been to juvie.
Oh, that's right.
First of all, they're at a rave all the time. You cannot tell me that he was
be,
not doing drugs while he was... No, he was definitely...
At a rave and not be a delinquent.
And another thing, but they're like 17. How are they getting into those raves?
It's the future,
the
dude.
Future. 16-year-old high school student and former delinquent Terry McGinnis discovers Batman's identity after the aging Bruce Wayne helps him fight off a gang of jokers. That's with a Z. They are street punks enamored by the original clown prince of crime. Terry returns home to find his father murdered in a crime scene that was made to look like that the jokers had killed Warren McGinnis in a robbery gone wrong. Terry later discovers a disc his father had hidden inside a family photo, which had evidence that his employer, Derek Powers, who you were just mentioning, the current CEO of Wayne Powers,
shocker,
was secretly using the company's resources to develop a biological weapon.
What? Who'd have thunk?
He also finds out that Powers' right-hand man and personal bodyguard, Mr. Fix, was the one who led the raid on the McGinnis' home and shot his father.
Yeah, he didn't stick around either. Like, they really...
I'm pretty sure he dies at the end of this mini...
I don't know why.
I'm going to keep referring it to as a movie because they do combine
when they released it.
Yeah, they released it, and I'll go into that in a little bit too.
They split it up nowadays as parts, but... They do. We talked about this in the last 2 series. They keep the pilots. They do multiple parts.
Yeah, they usually release like a
VHS
VHS
special
or a DVD.
movie.
Yeah,
I don't know why I thought as a kid that those guys were just like stuck around. Maybe I was just rewatching the pilot over and over again.
But no, yeah, in the movie he gets electrocuted and then he falls in with the ship and he drowns.
No, yeah, you're right.
Which was pretty gruesome for like a way to start off the show. Like definitely a little more gruesome than I want to say Batman the animated series and not the movies. I'm talking about the shows themselves.
Yeah, Batman animated gets pretty gruesome.
You keep saying that, but I don't remember. When do they don't like, who do they kill? I will say the one gruesome part is when they blew up Two-Face's body. That was pretty, like you saw his body launch into the air and like half his body's filled with smoke. But I don't know. This was a little like, I'm talking right off the pilot, first 2 parts. There's like numerous different deaths, murders, and all that. Because like even in Batman the Animated Series, you know about his parents. You don't see them get murdered.
Yeah.
Later in the episode, because the first episode is the Man-Bat episode. So they talk about it later. I'm talking like this is right off the get. They're like, hey, this show's about the future and murder. Terry then seeks Bruce's assistance in bringing Powers down, but cannot convince the old man to inflict swift justice because Bruce is still shaken from the ordeal 20 years ago when he had to rely on the handgun for self-defense, as well as all the traumatic events of his past with former sidekicks and also the limitations of his age. Bruce suggests that Terry takes the evidence from Powers to the current commissioner of the police, his former partner, Barbara Gordon, the retired Batgirl.
Dun, dun, dun.
But after a scuffle with Powers and Mr. Fix, Powers reclaims the evidence.
Sorry. This leads Terry to take matters into his own hands, and he steals the Batsuit. Bruce Wayne, angered upon discovering the theft, deactivates the suit, but seeing the now helpless Terry being ruthlessly beat down, reactivates it, and Terry convinces Bruce to allow him to continue pursuing Mr. Fix and Powers. By comparing his father's murder to Wayne's own parents, Terry successfully derails Powers' plan, getting his revenge on Mr. Fix by exposing Powers to his own nerve gas, resulting in his mutation into the villain Blight. Realizing crime and corruption are running rampant around the city and reminded by Terry of why he started crime fighting, Bruce accepts Terry as his protege and successor, training him as Gotham's new Dark Knight, under the cover being a hired personal assistant.
The VHS and DVD release was originally named Batman Beyond the Movie, which is a bit of a misnomer.
They had DVDs back then?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep, because DVDs were, I want to say, even earlier in the 90s.
Huh.
But they just weren't as popular.
Yeah.
They was like slowly switching from VHS to DVDs. So the VHS and DVDs release were originally named Batman Beyond the Movie, which is a bit of a misnomer as it isn't so much a movie as it is a collection of 6 episodes from the first season. It contains the movie, which is really merging of the two
pilot.
parts that we just talked about, and then 4 other episodes called Golem, misnamed Gotham Golem on the case, The Winning Edge, Dead Man's Hand, and Meltdown. All bangers. None of them tying in much to each other, save for the basic premise of being spun off of the original first 2 episodes. Later DVD releases eliminate the movie from the title and case and proclaim 6 exciting, action-packed episodes on the cover.
All right, now we're going to talk about the one and only movie that the series put out. I remember loving this movie as a kid because, hold on, let me tell you the title. Batman Return of the Joker. Who doesn't love the Joker? One of Batman's toughest, most vile, villainous, smart villain. The fact they brought him back for Batman Beyond, I imagine, was blowing every kid's mind.
Voiced again by Mark Hamill, too.
Oh, of course.
So thank God they brought him back.
Mark Hamill covered like most of Joker's career.
Yeah.
In
He's my Joker.
His series, video games, hopefully one day movies. Well, they give him shout out to movies. You know what's? They always make him in watching like CW Bat.
Yeah,
DC
they always
stuff,
make him the
like toy maker or like
trickster.
Some trickster.
Yeah, that was it. It was the trickster.
No, but he's been the toy maker too.
We were talking about this in the Batman episode because in the Flash he's the trickster, and they bring him back in the '90s Flash.
That's right,
and then they brought him back
his son
as in the next the CW series.
Yep. No, but he I forget what show it was. But in the Toy Maker, he voices, I think it was Superman.
No, you're thinking of Toyman, and Toyman's this little doll-looking guy.
No, I'm not talking about the, I am a mobster, I'm a puppet.
No, that's Scarface. You're getting you guys mixed up.
I always get my guys mixed up. Probably because I'm just, don't. You're supposed to be quiet. Shout out to my girlfriend, Madison.
So, go into the movie a little bit.
I don't know, where should we start?
So I guess right at the beginning, what happened? Usually how that goes.
You're not wrong.
Usually how that goes. The movie starts off that there's a new faction of the Jokers, and they do establish that there are many different versions of the Joker gang, and they don't always get along. But this new faction of the Jokers consists of Bonk, Wolf, Ghoul, Chucko, and Dee Dee, the Dee Dee twins. They attempt to steal high-tech electronic equipment but are intercepted by Terry McGinnis, new Batman. The gang reports back to their leader, who is revealed to be the one and only Joker. Bruce's arch nemesis, who has been presumed dead for decades. Terry must figure out if this is indeed his mentor's former arch nemesis, his arch nemesis, or if it is an imposter. This leads Terry down a pretty steep rabbit hole, learning much about Bruce Wayne's well-hidden past. Return of the Joker was originally set for release on Halloween 2000, but following the backlash against violence in children's media that resulted from the Columbine High School massacre in 1999, in general apprehension by the higher-ups at WB over the film's content, the creative team was forced to make edits that delayed its release to December 12th, the year 2000.
We were talking about this earlier, but one of the reasons why we like this movie and obviously give it a shout out, besides the fact of bringing back Joker, the look on Bruce Wayne's face when he sees him on stage, hears his laughing, like, he still can't believe, like, because he believed all these years that he was dead, but just the voice and the look, literally like one of the few times where you see Bruce Wayne actually like fear.
And it was like a big spectacle too, because Bruce was supposed to be
of course, Joker put on a big spectacle.
Oh, it was perfect.
Shocker.
So what we should say is when they got away from Terry and they got all that equipment, they ran back to the Joker, who was basically like, it's time. So Bruce Wayne is at a function in front of the city. Yeah. He's supposed to be buying back his half
fundraiser,
of the other half of the he's buying back the other half of his company. So he's supposed to be fully in charge again, because there's another guy who
not Derek Powers,
but someone who like was supposed to have taken over for Derek Powers. Very similar. He's like very shady. He wanted the role. We'll get into him later because he comes back and you find out about him. The Joker shows up.
Joker's back in town.
Can't be.
Oh no, your old eyes do not deceive you, Brucey. After all, who know me better than you?
Smoke everywhere.
Yep.
Bruce terrified.
Yep.
Then
he literally did not want Terry like pursuing him at all.
No.
He like
he was right after that.
He was getting pissed that he's like, dude, why are you talking about it? Like, you're not ready for the Joker. And he's like, what do you mean I'm not ready?
Because
like,
Bruce looked Joker in his eyes and realized, oh, this is the real deal.
Well, he didn't realize it right away. He was scared because he thought he did. He re-listened to the audio like over and over again. He was in disbelief.
And it was all matching
up.
He's
like, dude, like, how does his voice match?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so he looks at Terry and he's like, I'm taking you off of this. You cannot mess with him. Things have happened in the past. I'm just telling you, I'm cutting you off. So Terry decides to go to Barbara to find out what really happened.
You'll notice a few times in the series that I think Terry and Bruce kind of have a Dick and Bruce relationship.
Very similar.
They butt heads a lot, and Terry, just like Dick would have to go behind Batman's back to figure shit out on his own because, quote unquote, Batman would restrict him and not think he's ready.
And you really learn that, like, it's every one of Bruce's, like, former sidekicks really has, like, a random resentment that's not in the show at first. Like, Barbara didn't resent Bruce at first. And Tim didn't resent Bruce at first. And I can't. That's not fair.
I wouldn't say resentment. It's just like it's his parenting style. It's his teaching style. Like
the sternness.
Yeah, it's not even the sternness, but like he's always talking down to them.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, there's no love in what he says. Yeah, it is, but it's like hidden dude, so deep.
It's like I trust you. I trust you with everything. Why can't you trust me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you'll in the episodes we talk about, you'll see the way Terry's viewpoints and the way Terry handles things, and how that can conflict with Bruce's ideals at some points.
So Barbara Gordon is, as we had mentioned earlier, she's the commissioner now. She
Fills in some holes.
Big holes. Yeah. So she essentially talks about, because she was telling Terry to drop it too, and he's like, I want everyone to stop fucking telling me to drop it. I need to know, because they know who I should say they attack him in his civilian clothing, so they know who he is, and so he needs to figure out why they know who he is. So when he goes to Barbara tells him the story about years ago. Tim Drake was out going
Tim Drake,
solo.
the second Robin.
Was going solo. He finds this woman getting mugged. He goes and defends her. Turns out it's Harley Quinn. She knocks him out. Kidnaps him for 3 fucking weeks. Barbara doesn't know where he is. Bruce doesn't know where he is. They search the entire city of Gotham City.
Bruce thought he was dead.
Yeah, for 3 weeks. All of a sudden, they get an invitation on the rooftop from like a Jack-in-the-Box that basically tells them where they need to go. Mm-hmm. They show up, and I'll put the voice clip here, but Joker is basically like, me and Harley wanted our own family. Yeah. You always have these kids running around, so we figured, why don't we just take one of yours?
Quite right, Pooh. And Harley and I were thinking it was time to start a family. Add a Joker Jr. to our merry brood.
But rather than go through all the joy of childbirth, we decided to adopt.
We couldn't do it legally, but then we remembered you always had a few spare kids hanging around, so we borrowed one.
Turns out of the shadow comes Tim Drake, completely Jokerized. Like
mutated, warped.
His he just looks
or something.
Crazy. Yep. Can't stop laughing.
He's got the green hair, the white skin.
Joker starts playing these old movie slides, and you find it
shock therapy,
putting different serums in them, and Joker even coldly goes like, at first your training did really well. He put up a fight, but after a while, he was begging. And he told me everything. And then he just leans in and he goes, Bruce. And so now you know that Joker knows everything because he tortured it out of Robin. There's a big moment where Batgirl goes off and she fights Harley Quinn. They're out in the rain. Harley Quinn falls into a big, giant
pit. Bottomless. It looks bottomless.
And you know at this point that if anyone falls in from a cave or into a pit, most likely they're coming back. But for now, we think Harley's dead. Turn up to Bruce. He's with Joker, beating the shit out of him because he's furious. Joker makes Tim, I think he calls him JJ, Joker Jr.
Yep.
Gives him a gun and tells him to shoot Batman. Instead, a flag comes out, and Tim turns quickly and shoots the Joker.
Like, we shouldn't downplay what actually happened. He was really eternally struggling because his brainwashing told him to shoot Batman, but he couldn't do it. And Joker's getting madder and madder, and he's like, fucking do it. And then that's when he turns around. He was staying there for like a good 5 minutes.
Not only that, he was
out,
crying to himself
while laughing.
And
that was probably the scariest part, because you could tell he was hurting.
Oh, best part of the movie, I think. And you even stated that it was the flashbacks that was the best part of the movie.
When we were talking about this the other day, I liked the flashbacks more than the present time. Just I think it was just a nostalgic point of we're seeing Tim, Batgirl, and Batman taking down the Joker.
Oh yeah,
last time.
I do not hold that against you at all because even growing up, I was like, oh, these are the best parts. Ironically enough, let's talk about the Joker's death real quick. The most dramatic change that we had talked about that they did when re-releasing the movie was the method of Joker's death. In the original cut of the film, he is impaled by a flag shot out of the handgun by Tim Drake, which I just mentioned. In the re-edit, he is electrocuted after becoming tangled in water tubing. Nearly 2 years after the film's initial release and following online petitions, Warner Home Video released an uncut and unaltered version of Return of the Joker with more violence and some altered language.
Wait, so which one was the the original death scene.
as well as the Joker's original death. The original death is him getting impaled. He got shot by the
That's
flag.
available on HBO Max.
Yes, it is.
They released another one where he gets electrocuted. How is that less violent?
That's the argument, right?
What?
And if you actually watch the movie with that scene, it's pretty what happens is Joker gets entangled by the wiring, and he kind of falls back and he grabs a hold of a switch.
Yeah.
And when he falls and he slips, the switch goes down, but he's already off camera, so you just hear him get electrocuted.
Yeah.
You don't really see it, but arguably that's a worse death
It's
than the quick shot of the flagpole through the chest.
Well, he was still we say impaled, but it's not like you see the flagpole come out the other side of his body.
No. It's wedged in.
It's standing up and
But do you remember what he says?
He goes, "That's not funny."
And then dies.
Yeah.
What a way to go.
Yep.
He's
like, "Oh, that's not funny."
That's not funny. That's not...
So let's flash forward again. Now we're back into the future. Back
to reality. Oh, the goal's gravity.
I was going to go to the future, but Terry is still on his hunt to try and figure out what's going on. So he has a suspicion about Tim Drake now, who is no longer a superhero. He works as a communications. No, he did, because I just rewatched it. He had a suspicion. He's like, I'm going to go talk to Drake. And he's in his camouflage, and Drake is fixing some kind of satellite. And he goes, you think I can't sense you already, dude? And he's like, I was doing this shit years ago. And he goes, but that was 40 years ago. And he starts talking about it. He's like, listen, it was rough for me to get past it. I think everyone else should get past it. I was as shocked as anyone else to see the Joker. I'm not working for him. I'm not doing anything. But Terry's not convinced. Terry thinks he's working for him.
I thought he didn't go there to interrogate him. I thought he was
it was implied.
He
was talking to him because he's Terry. He's not Bruce.
Yeah, true.
So he was talking to him.
By the end of the conversation, you're right. It was very interrogative. Not what's the word I want to use? Where
interrogative. He like I said, pseudo. He was trying not to be too pushy about it, but after a while, Tim's like, all right, dude, I'm gonna dip.
Yeah, Tim was pissed, actually.
I should mention, while he was talking to Barbara, Joker broke into the Batcave and beat the shit out of Bruce and hit him with all the laughing gas.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Terry came back and had to, while Bruce is hysterically laughing, and this is an old man. I'm surprised he even was living as long as because who knows how long he was down in there for. He points to underneath the table a serum that Joker had already broke up and broke all the rest of the serums, had slid under a table, so Terry was able to fix Bruce. But
if you're Batman, you're going to have the serum to laughing gas because Joker used it all the time.
That's what he was working on when Joker broke in. So he was working on the serum, and he even said anti-Joker serum. And then he heard Ace, the Bat Hound, going crazy upstairs. And then he heard Ace go, "Arr!" And then when he went upstairs, that's when Joker attacked him.
That's right, yeah. But you reminded me, after he left that conversation with Tim, he definitely was like, I know there's a connection between Tim and Joker. I just don't know what it is. So it's like he didn't think that he did it directly, but he's like, dude, Tim has something to do with it.
Yeah, he had a feeling and he had a hunch. And he even said to Bruce, he's like, you taught me to go with my hunches. So remember that guy I had mentioned earlier, the one that took over for Derek Powers?
Yep.
We find out that he had been giving a bunch of information and stuff to the Joker gang. And giving a bunch of equipment and stuff.
Right,
and remember, he was on his boat.
Why was he doing that though?
He wanted Bruce dead.
That's right.
And he thought they were going to kill Bruce.
Yep.
And they didn't, obviously, because Terry got in the way.
But then they
tried to kill him
on his boat.
Yes.
Yep.
And they tried to kill him.
Yeah,
and they blow it up with
a satellite laser. Yeah, that's right.
Because the Joker just has one of those.
Yeah, and no, he doesn't have one. He hacked one from Wayne Industries. Because, of course, Wayne Industries has a satellite laser. And plus, it's 2039 in the dystopian future, so they just think we have... actually, we probably do have satellite lasers now that I think
I wouldn't doubt it. They were just talking about Russia trying to build the
nuclear warhead in space.
We're getting there.
Great.
We're getting there.
But, yeah. giving Joker a giant space laser. I think personally it's too flashy for Joker, but he was down with it, I guess.
So they were like, well, how could he get a hold of this laser? What is the connection there? How did he get something so powerful? Again, Tim Drake pops up. Because what we mentioned, he was working with the satellites. I forget what his precise.
I think he was working on that project. He was on that team that made that satellite.
Yeah, he was
Shocker.
He was those little satellites he was working on Earth was able to go up to the satellite that was
in space.
In space, yeah, the dishes I should say on Earth, and then he was able to cut and do
dishes more like it.
He's some kind of engineer.
He's smart. Some might say he was trained by the world's smartest detective.
So I forget if Joker tells Batman to show up at the toy factory.
No, I think Terry just uses detective skills and like figures it out.
But Tim is in the toy factory.
That factory, I think, it was like putting out like a stupid amount of power.
Yes.
And he's like, "How is this abandoned factory putting out all this power?"
So
shocker.
Tim is in the factory, and Batman's like, "What the fuck's going on here?" And then he shocks Batman for half a second, but Joker knows, or I just gave it away. Tim knocks Batman down for a second, and he says, "Bruce, I know you're listening. I know you got the radio going. Watch this." And then he forms into the Joker. He like starts ripping at his hair and laughing hysterically.
Laughing maniacally.
It made me
uncomfortable.
Play that. Yeah, I'll play that clip too. And then he becomes the Joker.
I want you to see every minute of this. It's a killer.
My God. Oh, I never get tired of that.
And we have our big climactic battle. I'll give you one hint who wins.
Joker.
Batman Beyond 2, Joker's Bugaloo.
Tim Drake lives.
And so, he ends up taking down... I should say you find out that Joker had implanted Tim with a microchip in his neck. Which causes the transformation.
This is the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard.
And he even stated that at first he couldn't control it, but over time he learned to control it.
The way he describes it, though, he's like, I transferred my consciousness in this microchip to infect his brain.
Yeah.
I'm like, how were they thinking about this in the 90s?
Yeah.
That's some shit that, like, I feel like we've seen a lot of like sci-fi like nowadays of like transferring your consciousness into like a computer.
They kind of do it because if you've ever heard of the Batman Who Laughs...
Yes.
In the comics, his origin is that Batman kills the Joker.
Yeah.
And when the Joker dies, he releases a toxin that hits Batman.
Yes.
So they were already thinking about this.
Yeah,
back
a toxin, not a microchip. That's what I'm saying. Like them using like
it's futuristic.
That's what I'm saying.
Every chance they get, they're like the web, the net.
I know.
We're online.
I know. That's why like. Spellbinder was like such a scary villain because he's like, oh, like when he had that arcade.
Yeah. He's like, I'm on the web. You could tell it was like 2001 and it was just starting to be
stupid.
He defeats the Joker by shocking the microchip with one of the Joker's own buzzers, and it causes him to fry.
Short circuit,
causing Tim Drake to come back. That's
the
end of the.
Does that mean that any electrical shock could have just like destroyed that chip? Like that's a pretty weak ass chip to like.
And not only that, but when Tim's becoming Joker and he points to the chip in his neck, I'm like, no one, not even your wife or children, noticed that.
Was like, oh,
because like they show this little black speck, and I'm
dot,
trying to think like, is that just supposed
to
or is it like a scar maybe that no one cared about looking? Which also like Bruce. The fuck, dude? You didn't think to check him over when you guys converted him from his JJ version?
I don't know. It's a cartoon. There's some plot holes.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
DC will email you.
So I guess that's a good way to go into the next segment. On a scale from F to A+,
I laugh every time. F to.
What would you rate the show?
I don't remember what I rated Batman.
You
I
did...
think I said 10. 10 out of 10.
No, you did an 10+. And then Superman, I think you did an A-.
Really, I did A-?
Wow, would you put it as a B+?
Superman?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say B+. But Batman Beyond, I enjoyed watching it all the way through, but looking back to pick my favorite episodes was really hard because I was telling Nick today, with Batman animated series, it was very hard to pick favorite episodes because there were just so many good ones. And with I'm not saying the show is bad, but like it just wasn't. There wasn't many episodes where I was like, "Oh, I love this episode. I love this episode."
Yeah, it's
But
almost
to
like
be-
a little bit of a slip from the last two.
To be fair, Nick made it hard for me. Pause. Because some of the episodes that he chose were my favorites, so I had to really look for a number 2, and that was whatever. What I'm trying to say is I'll give it a solid B, I guess.
I
wish it had more than one movie.
I'm gonna lowball it and go B+. I want to give it an A-, but there, like we said, there's some things like
it's just because Batman and Superman were just like better.
So good. And like when Batman in the original series goes up against a normal person with a gun, every time he's gonna take that person out. Terry could fight a 7-foot hulking monster 1 minute, and then just a dude with a random laser could take him out in another second. And I guess we could go back to the fact that he's still new and he's still learning and he's still training.
And another thing is like it's a power suit, so like if
I would assume that the power suit would be able to get him out of most situations.
But there are a few episodes where like the power suit's like fucked up.
Oh yeah, those are my favorite, honestly. When you see it all like clawed up and all scratched up, and like you got the red wiring underneath.
He's like, ah.
Yeah, there's some great episodes. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the B+. I was gonna go A-, but I was like, I've put so many shows that we've hit on the flashback cartoon in the A category, and I was like, hey, how you doing? Forget about it. So I'm gonna stick with B+. Not bad. Don't get us wrong. No, we're not saying we don't like the show.
Out of the 3 shows that we reviewed, this is our least favorite.
Yes, out of so far in the DCAU, and I can promise you, Zeta is gonna be underneath it.
Oh, 100%. Like in the 3 episodes he was in, I was like, dude, like whatever.
I liked him in his own show. He has a unique like.
Have you seen the whole series before, or you've seen like here and there?
I think it's only one season.
I thought it was 2.
It might be 2.
Yeah,
I've watched episodes. I watched it as a kid, but as an adult, rewatching it, I've only seen episodes here or there, and it wasn't bad. It basically.
I don't know if it was on. Was it on HBO?
Yeah, it's on. Oh no, actually no. I think they took it off. It's
terrible.
The whole point is, robot designed to kill doesn't want to kill anymore. It's been done a lot. And he teams up with Batman, ends up running away. Then his show is basically robot on the run.
Elmo has a gun
and doesn't want to kill from. And the like evil organization that built him is on chasing him different places each episode. Now is our personal recommendations. This is fun for me and Santi. Our favorite parts of the episode.
It wasn't fun this time because, like I said,
season 2 was rough, but I feel like season 1 and 3 were easier to pick.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to pick the pilot, but we both agreed that
that was better as a movie. Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to pick the pilot was, like I said earlier, the villain was just so likable. They're really setting up the entire series, and you're like, okay, you know where this is going. And they end up killing the villain, which kind of got me upset, but whatever.
Yeah. So, season 1. Why don't you go with your first?
Mine? Okay, so mine was season 1, episode 11, Disappearing Ink. Now, Ink is, I'd say, in Terry's Batman Rogues gallery. Her, and we'll talk about this other villain, Shriek, and even Spellbinder. Most seen villains throughout the series.
For sure.
Ink.
And Bloodsport. He comes back numerous times.
Like
and not only that, but you're going to see all 3 of them in the Justice League.
Really?
Like a quick little,
Yeah.
when they flash to the future, you see the Justice League of the future fighting those 3 villains.
So Ink's this hired assassin who gets fucked up some lab experiment. She goes somewhere she's not supposed to go, breaks in somewhere she's not supposed to go, shocker, and it ends up like warping her whole body, where she becomes compare her to like an ink blob, aka that's why she's called Ink. This is her second episode debut. You could call her an attractive woman if you wanted to. She's been like
I will.
She's been cohorting this guy, one of the guards, or like I think he was a janitor. Just like, oh, like, you know, we can be together. Like if you help me escape, blah 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 blah. I can lend you my power.
You play this right, and I might give you a nice reward.
I'd do anything for you. Anything.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
So he helps her escape, and the whole episode, he's like, you promise you give me power, you promise to be together, blah blah blah. And then by the end of the episode, she literally like just shoves her ink down his mouth and like infecting him, so to speak. And the both of them, obviously, since she broke out, Terry's spending the whole episode trying to find her, and they both team up and kick Terry's ass. And the reason why I love this is because this is the first time you see Bruce. He has to put on the Batsuit. He has to. Terry's in trouble. Terry's gonna die. He got fucked up. And he comes in, and you see both Batmans working together. You know, like Kid Santi, Kid Nick. Yeah. Any viewer that's watching it, you're like freaking out. Like, oh my god, here they are.
Waiting for. Mind
you, Bruce got his ass kicked because he is an old man, but it was enough of distraction to distract them so Terry to get the upper hand. That guy gets defeated. Ink escapes again. Shocker.
No, that's a Spider-Man villain.
Shut up. I knew. I've said shocker like 5 times in this episode,
and
I've been waiting for you to say something. Yeah, so she's one of my favorite villains on this series, and you'll see why the more we talk about our episodes.
Yeah, you know, I'm very impressed with one thing, and the main reason why I give this show a B+ is that the creators were very adamant that they didn't want to just rehash all the already known Batman villains, and they gave us a good plethora.
I'm surprised Killer Croc never made an appearance. I would love to see like an aged, like, he could, if they wanted to, they could like beef him up, make him look like a fucking living dinosaur, like, and he'd be a.
Which is crazy because, like, it really
Crocodiles
varies depending on when. Well, he's not actually. He's supposed to be a human with a skin condition.
Yes, I know,
that
but
is carnivore.
He slowly like evolves into a crocodile, though.
Oh, the Killer Croc versus the Lizard would be a fucking amazing
dude.
Fight. All right, so why don't I go into my first episode of season 1, which I'm going to pick as.
This was my pick, but Nick chose first. So.
And next time we can, don't forget, we can agree and just talk about an episode together, holding hands.
I put it off for so long. I'm not gonna be like, no, I wanna. I'll let you have it. You chose.
Okay, so my episode is episode 5 of season 1, Meltdown. Wayne Powers builds a new body for Victor Freeze, better known as the original Batman's old opponent, Mr. Freeze, in hope that a similar treatment might reverse Derek Powers' transformation into Blight. After the pilot, he gets whacked with that virus, and the only way to beat it is through radiation.
Yep.
And he beefs up his radiation. He tries to hide it. He tries to put on fake skin, but when he gets pissed off or mad about something,
his skin just melts.
Usually melts away. And so he was getting mad that the skin kept melting off all the time, and this random girl was like, hey, well, I want permission from you to do this to somebody else who has a similar condition to you, slightly different but similar, and we'll see where it goes. So they build him a new body. They go and find him, and he's just ahead as we last left him, and it's really pretty sad. I'm gonna place the voice clip too, but he's sitting there and he's like, I've only thought of death for like the last 50 years. He goes, I just want to die, but because of this condition, I'm immortal.
Take a good look, Doctor. I've been like this for nearly 50 years, and I haven't aged one day. I have become what many men have dreamed of, an immortal. And yet, there hasn't been a day, an hour, a minute I haven't thought about death. It obsesses me, even now.
What if I said I could give you life?
And that's when the girl's like, hey, well, let me help you. And that's when he's...
Let me kill you slowly.
He's intrigued because he's like, I can finally be out of this prison that I've been in for numerous years. So they do it. They do his basically like a conscience swap into a new body that looks just like Freeze's, and he's seemingly cured from his extreme cold. And, you know, he's remorseful for all the bad things he's done. He's trying to live a brand new life. He falls in love with the nurse that was helping him.
Yeah, but she betrays him, though.
Yeah. So, again, they are not nice to Freeze. Freeze, every time we see him, dude, he gets the shit end of the stick.
I always roast Nick because he loves to side with any ice villain or ice powered person in general. But this episode really made me feel for him. I was pretty excited when Santi called me. It really humanized him. Santi came over to the cold side. It made me realize. It reminded me how much I loved the show as a kid, and especially because we get the fight scene between the three of them at the end of the episode. You got Blight fighting with Freeze and Batman. Like, they're all fighting at the same time. It was fucking cool. So, you know, Freeze is out and about. Season 1 was fucking awesome. Amazing. So Freeze is out and about with his new fake girlfriend, and he, you know, some guy tries to attack Freeze, and Batman stops him and, you know, is about to arrest him, and Freeze is like, stop. Like, I did the whole reason why the guy tried to kill Freeze is because Freeze froze his family and like ruined this guy's life. He's like, you took them all away from me. You took my whole family away. And Freeze is like, I'm so sorry. That was another lifetime. I have so much remorse. I will do everything in my power to help you and, like, you know, get you back on your feet. And so he asked Batman to let the guy go.
The monster's gotta die! How could you save him? After what he did to me.
What did I do?
You destroyed my life, my family. Years ago, gone. Frozen. Forever.
We'll let the police take care of him.
No. I've done this man enough damage. No words can express my sorrow for the pain I've caused you. I beg your forgiveness. It was another life, though that's hardly an excuse. I can only promise you this. I will do the best I can to make reparations to you and everyone I've ever hurt.
Lo and behold, the body doesn't keep up. Freeze starts reverting back. Villain. Yeah, because like it's snowing out and Freeze starts taking layer after layer off because he's like sweating and he's like, oh my God, it's getting so hot and he's burning up. Then the girl turns out and she's like, hey, I was just fucking lying to you the whole time and we're gonna just kill you and take your organs and do whatever we need to help Light. And so Freeze being the pissed off, and you know, Bruce called this because Bruce is like, Freeze always needs some form of revenge, and once you give it to him, he's not going to stop. He's going to be an unmovable force, and he's going to keep coming back and back and back, and that's what he does. He shows up. Batman tries to stop a fight between Freeze and Blight, and what's not cooler than a supervillain fight?
Oh, I love it.
So that three-way fight, that's my first pick. Really, really good episode, an emotional episode, and it, even less so than the other series, there's not as many emotional episodes. And we picked the ones that are pretty emotional. So
Yeah.
you'll see. As for, I do have an honorable mention.
That's right, yeah.
It's season 1, episode 8, Dead Man's Hand. The Royal Flush Gang has been around since 1966. In the TV series, this is the first time they show up. And then, like, you know, they show different versions throughout the different years. When Batman was young, they have a version.
I had to look it up because Bruce, like, the way he talks about them.
I was confused, too. I was like, have they already done an episode?
That's what I was saying. I was like, were they on an episode of the
He's
animated
like,
series
I
that
have
I
a
missed?
past with them.
Yeah,
and I was like,
they're like strong. Like, I was like, what?
So the Royal Flush Gang, basically, there's a gang of 5. They each have different suits of a card. King,
Playing
Queen,
cards,
Jack, Ace, and 10.
Ace is a robot, though, so he's like actually...
a robot, android, whatever you want to call them. And
the rest are humans. They're like a family, quote unquote. They're related.
We should say at the beginning of the episode, Terry once again is running late for a date because he can never show up to a date on time or even go on a date. And this time, Dana's had enough. They're once again at another rave because these kids fucking love raving.
It's the 90s.
I was down, though. Did you listen to their music?
Yeah.
Banging. So he shows up. Dana's pissed, and he's like, Dana, I'm so sorry. And she's like, I didn't even think you were coming. I don't even think about you anymore. Like, you're so far out of my mind. He's like, you know, it's like with Mr. Wayne, I need to pay for, like, my family, and I have responsibilities. She goes, whatever. And he's like, listen, if you can't hop on, maybe we need to, like, think about what we're doing. She's like, I'm already long gone. And so she walks away. Lo and behold, this weird blonde girl was watching him through windows the entire time. And when he walks outside, she like steps out of the shadows.
You're different from the rest.
You're different.
I just saw you get dumped.
She literally goes, I've been watching you.
Yeah.
Imagine a stranger at the club coming up and saying that to you.
I'd be like, well, she's hot, and I'm a teenager, and I'm single, so...
Yep, so being the teenager he is, Terry was like, well, fuck Dana.
Maybe we should just forget the whole thing.
Terry, I already have forgotten it.
Big fight? I was watching.
I'm pretty interested.
They stayed up all night, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, till, like, sunrise. She was like, I gotta go home.
Yeah, but she literally says that she's in love with him at one point throughout the episode.
Do they kiss?
Like, yeah, actually,
because they stay up all
yes.
night just talking, getting to know each other. And,
yep, they
like,
do. They're underneath the street light when they kiss.
Because he comes home and his mom goes, wow, I can't remember the last time you've been up so early. He's like, been up. Like, I didn't go to bed. He's like, oh, I had an amazing night.
Or was it? No, I think he showed up and she walks in and he was pulling the covers back.
Yeah.
And she's
like, making your bed?
You made
and
your
he's
bed?
like, yeah,
Yes,
totally. He's like,
please, Mom, no papao.
I'm a responsible teenager.
But yeah, so you find out that this blonde girl is actually 10. They fall in love.
Not years old.
Not 10.
The villain.
Well, we don't know.
10 of the Royal Flush Gang.
They don't say she's not 10
promote
years old.
pedophiliism.
We're gonna assume she's similar to his age.
She was at a club, so she's around 18 years old.
You know, they were gonna keep dating. They were gonna keep seeing each other. She did mention that her family travels a lot because they're the Royal Flush Gang. She didn't tell him that, but. They were supposed to have a date. She's afraid of the Royal Flush Gang finding out about Terry. Not Batman, but about Terry. So she breaks off the relationship. And Terry's like, something weird's going on, so I'm going to creep into her house. Which he does. Then he finds a playing card and realizes, like, you know, he puts 2 and 2 together. This is the Royal Flush Gang. They attack Batman. They've been after him the entire episode. The whole gang does. He takes them out one by one. And
they capture him first, though. He gets fucked up.
Yeah, well, at one point, it's up to he's fighting King. Because King's the last one left, and he has King down, and 10s come flying over, and he literally looks at her and says, "Just stop, go away, like just fly away right now. You can stop this." And she doesn't. She flies at him, and then some of the police shoot her down. She gets arrested. He's upset. He had fought with Bruce earlier, who was basically just being like, bro, you're being a snot-nosed kid. Stop thinking with your penis.
Yeah, literally.
And, Terry wasn't having it. But now he walks up to Bruce, and he's like, I'm so sorry, dude. You're so right. Has this ever happened to you? And he's like, let me tell you about a woman named Selena
Williams.
Selena Kyle.
Selena Williams is a tennis player,
Yeah.
you're right.
Well, I'm keeping that in.
Wait. Whoa.
Yeesh. All right.
Selena Williams on her spare time when she's not winning tennis championships, she's swinging around on a black whip.
Mr. Wayne, those things I said, I'm sorry. This kind of thing ever happened to you?
Let me tell you about a woman named Selena Kyle.
Your season 2 episode.
Okay. So, I'm going to tell you guys and girls, season 2, it was not easy. I didn't hate season 2, but like I said before, it was hard to pick a favorite. I was going back and forth between Armory, Payback, and I settled for Eyewitness. And the reason why I picked Eyewitness is because the whole point of the story is, again, Batman is framed for a crime he didn't do, and at this point, it's murder. You find even Eva Barbara, the chief of police, aka retired Batgirl, was like, this is the evidence. Like, we literally have physical evidence of you, killing this guy. And Terry's like, dude, I wouldn't do that. I wasn't even there.
That's why I saw you kill Mad Stan.
But I didn't. I wouldn't.
And you find out throughout the episode a villain named Spellbinder, who he uses technology to project illusions. He's almost like Mysterio, or
yeah.
Yep. Basically like that. He uses technology to project illusions. So it was a hologram of Batman killing someone, not actually Terry killing someone.
It honestly sounds exactly what Mysterio would do. It sounds,
literally what happened.
You could arguably say that they looked at this, because I feel like Batman the Animated Series came out, then Spider-Man the Animated Series came out. And I feel like they were like, hey, let's combine them, because Terry is very much a Peter Parker.
Definitely more than Bruce Wayne was, yeah.
I wouldn't say as nerdy, because he's kind of cool, he's cool in his high school, but I would say that the way when he puts on the mask and stuff, how quippy he is, he loves his quips, and that's how he beat the Joker in the movie.
It's Eric Matthews,
and that's even how he beat the Joker in the movie.
True, yeah,
he was
he was getting under his skin.
Yeah, he's like, he loves to talk. I love to talk,
because he literally said, he's like, I'm not like Bruce, I'll talk your ear off.
Yeah, he's like, I'll fucking make you so mad, dude.
And I remember, actually, now that we're talking about Spellbinder, I remember as a kid I liked I thought Spellbinder was my favorite villain just because of his outfit. He looked cool.
Yeah, he does
creepy.
have the coolest design.
He looks villainous, but watching all of his episodes, I'm like, they're okay.
Yeah,
I think maybe his coolest one was trapping the kids in the arcade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if that was his debut. That could have been his second episode.
It wasn't his first one.
No. But yeah, Spellbinder. Eventually, he finds out it's him and he kicks his ass. The fight wasn't that great because he's just hallucinating. Well, not even hallucinating. Just he's in an illusion hologram the whole time. So it's I don't know. I just feel like it's a one-off trick pony. That's why I don't really like Spellbinder as a villain. But the reason why I like that episode is because, again, Gotham turned on Batman so quickly. Even Barbara, who's worked with Bruce Wayne, it's just a shock to the viewer or the fan, or if you're a kid or whatever. It's wow, and for the most series, Batman Terry is working with the cops the whole time. The cops suspect him. It's not the Batman that we see in the animated series. It's not like Superman.
No, I even saw I saw a cop literally salute Batman in one of the episodes I watched last night.
But yeah, so that's my number 2.
Do you have an honorable mention or no?
I wanted to mention Payback. The reason why I liked that one is because it was geared around this psychiatrist that was using students' mental distress, so to speak. So a student would talk about a bully, and the psychiatrist would end up having that bully get fucked up by the villain Payback or whatever, which was like actually like this little boy. Was he have psychic powers? How is he controlling that?
So what happened was, and I thought it was really cool because even I was sitting there going, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah,
because
I thought
Terry,
I thought it was a psychiatrist.
I thought it was this. First I thought it was the security of the psychiatrist.
Yep.
Because he was a giant adult acting like he had the same build as him.
Mm-hmm.
Then you think it's the actual therapist himself, and Terry goes through these motions too, and he messed up the first time. Bruce was like, "You fucking beat up an innocent person, and we do not do that. That is unacceptable. You need to know what the fuck you're doing next time and listen to me." Because, Terry was like, "No, it's him. I'm going to go in."
Yeah, that's right. I forgot Bruce was pissed.
I'd have gotten there in time if you hadn't jumped the gun with Lewis.
I know.
Do you? You injured an innocent man. That's inexcusable.
And I'm sorry, okay? But I got something more important to do right now.
And what might that be?
Stanton. If Payback's not Lewis, Stanton's got to be the one.
Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But from now on, we're handling it my way, which means taking our time and getting it right.
And when he went to think it was the therapist, it was actually the therapist kid who you briefly see playing with the security guard in the beginning of the episode. But this kid was so upset that his dad's never home because he's always helping these kids out.
He just wanted attention.
He figured, if I go and hurt the people that are upsetting these people, my dad will be home.
Play with me.
Yeah, my dad will be home.
And
sooner.
that kind of hit home, like child neglect, people dealing with mental illness. It's just really important. And you don't realize it till it's too late. It's really important to teach kids that at a young age. So that's why I'm glad they put that in a kid's cartoon. And
it was still a little sad because they arrested the kid.
Yep.
At the end, he was in handcuffs and they threw him in the paddy wagon.
Dude, they arrest kids nowadays. It's the future, man.
Yeah.
Fuck them kids.
We're there, dude. Okay, so I'm actually going to switch what I have here. Because I think so. My season 2, I'm going to go with season 2, episode 26. It's the very last episode of the season. It's Ace in the Hole.
I wanted to pick that one, but Nick picked it.
As a dog owner, I was hugging my dog the entire time I watched this episode. So, yeah, my dog's a German Shepherd. Guess what? Ace the Bat Hound is a German Shepherd.
Is he?
And they call him a Dane mix, but if you actually follow the comics, he's been a German Shepherd since his intro. He's always been a German Shepherd. So I was really like, Archie, it's you. But let's start off. Terry is bringing Ace out for a walk, or Bruce has to go somewhere, and he's like, all right, you walk, Ace. And mid-walk, Ace sees a guy from his past and starts losing his fucking mind and breaks apart from Terry, runs off. Terry starts chasing Ace down alleyways, and it kind of keeps flashing between modern day and again back in the past. And you see that this guy actually was the one who kidnapped Ace as a puppy, beat the shit out of him, and turned him into a dog fighter. And would just have him fight numerous different dogs until finally it was Bruce who found him. Well, I should say Ace broke free, ran away, and while he was starving, Bruce finds him and then keeps him. Because Bruce has no idea what's going on. He just knows his dog's been missing for days. So Ace is now on the pursuit of this guy who he will never forget, kind of like an elephant or something. He'll never forget him.
Fuck animal cruelty.
Gets captured again, and this guy remembers Ace, and he goes, oh, doggy, me and you got a past. He goes, I'm going to throw you right back into the fight. But this time, Terry was there and was able to help Ace get out, and they team up.
Also, they were mutant dogs, huge dog monsters,
dogs.
Straight from outer space. I don't even know.
Yeah, the guy was very much about, again, he was like, I'm airing this on the net. And he goes, I've monically engineered these dogs to be even bigger. And they come out, and they're all ferocious looking. They're all deformed, basically Bane dogs, I would say. You know what I mean? Really beefed up. So the two of them team up. They take down the main bad guy. And at the end of the day, everyone's happy. Ace is back home. I would say Bruce cares about this dog more than he cares about any of the Robins.
No.
Yeah, dude,
that's
he was
not true.
No, he was defeated when Ace was gone. He was like, "What did they do to you, boy? Where are you?" He's like sitting by the fire.
Swear to me.
You know what I mean? Like Dick left and he didn't care. Tim
cared.
was. He was, this dog was gone, and Bruce is sitting there by the fire, just like looking, gazing into the fire, crying.
What did he do to you, boy?
So that's my pick, and then I have the honorable mention of season 2, episode 1, Splicers. This was a really good episode. You learn about splicing in this episode, and it becomes a prominent thing later in the series where you find out even kids can get it. It's like this gizmo you put above your mouth, almost like an inhaler, and you take a deep breath, and it splices animal genes into your body.
Check it out. I don't believe it. Chelsea, you got spliced.
Crazy girl, your dad must have had a spiz fit.
I don't know, Chelsea. Isn't messing with your DNA a bit drastic?
Even for you?
Please.
Well, then why is the city trying to shut it down?
Lighten up, Terry. The law's against practically everything we're into. You gotta keep an open mind.
She's the first one to walk in at the beginning of the episode to the rest of the school and go, "Hey, everybody, check me out," and hits it. And then she gets like snake eyes, not the G.I. Joe character.
Boo.
And
the Spider-Man villain.
But yeah, so there's an evil. I don't want to call them a gang, but they're handing basically splices out to high school students, and it's really kind of like the whole thing's an allegory for don't do drugs, kids, right? It's like to keep that shit out of schools, don't do drugs. If people at school are doing drugs, be better.
As an adult, I can definitely appreciate that. As a kid, you think it's dumb, but like.
Yeah.
I can really appreciate sending a positive message towards kids because they do it again in the Bane episode where Bane's venom serum is getting distributed out to, once again, high school kids.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly jocks on like football teams, mostly
yeah.
like the athletic guys, but it just makes you angry and fucking. I'm pretty sure like someone gets killed. I think a student,
overdose.
No, I think a student like kills a teacher because he's like on the drug, and that's what like brings Terry's attention. He's like, dude, like this guy would like never like beat the crap out of like someone.
Ooh.
But and then at the end of the episode, it's kind of sad because then you find Bane, the original Bane. He's an old man, and this I forget who it was, but like someone was just siphoning his body for the venom. And it like, dude, Bane's just like, dude, like fucking kill me,
Kill
like,
me, please, kill
like,
me.
Like this
I
sucks.
don't want to be
prisoner.
here.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
It was super sad. But again, also like telling kids not to do drugs, all that, fun, positive stuff that we love telling kids about.
How'd you con the formula out of Bane?
In the end, he needed venom just to keep going. It got so bad he couldn't even make it himself. He had to trust someone.
And now you're cashing in by selling poison to kids?
That's right.
So for the final season, season 3, way better than season 2. I don't know.
I still think season 1 was the best.
Yeah, because I really feel like Paul Dini and Bruce Timm worked a little bit more with the writing in season 1, and then as the series goes on, you kind of find them less and less in the opening titles, their names, and it's all the other guys we had mentioned at the beginning. Not bad, just not as good as those two, because a lot of people think like, I respect and love Bruce Timm, but I feel like Paul Dini gets slept on, and he every single time we've talked about any of these banger episodes on any of the 3 shows, that's mostly been Paul Dini. He just knows how to write really well, heartfelt episodes. So that being said, Let's go into season 3. My choice is episode 7 and 8. The episode is called The Call.
So before we talk about it, I was giving Nick shit because he's like, I'm gonna pick the Justice League episode. I'm like, oh my god, that's such like a what's the word I want to use?
Cliche?
No, not cliche, but that's
predictable.
Yeah, not predictable, but just like kind of like a throwaway. Like, oh, of course, like you like the Justice League episodes, like a bunch of heroes and one like. I don't know, like I wanted something geared more around like Batman, whatever. But then looking at season 3, I'm like, fuck, dude, like the Justice League's episode were the best ones. So I would have picked it, but I knew beforehand that he had picked it. So I'm like, I can't even like.
So basically, Superman, who's still there in the future, has requested.
You can tell it's the same one. He's old because he has one gray streak in his hair.
Yeah. And
that was funny that they added that to like he's older now.
He's older now. He has one gray streak, but he basically still looks pretty.
Oh yeah, obviously
in top form.
Obviously, he's aging slowly because he's fucking Kryptonian.
And then you find out about the other members of the Justice League, and Superman wanted the new Batman to join the league, and Batman's. Terry's not used to working with people, and he butts heads with a few of them.
Not even just Terry, but Bruce. Terry was like, Bruce, why didn't you? He's like, I used to for a little while, but I don't work well with others. I don't like being.
And we should mention that this. So for me, I'm a couple years older than Santi. So for me, when I watched this when it came out, there was no Justice League TV show. The best we had for a team up of DC heroes was the Super Friends.
That and Batman and Robin too. Yeah.
And the crossover's there, but I'm talking about like an actual team. Like all we had up until that point was the Super Friends. So for me, this was awesome. But it was a Green Lantern I've never seen before. It was Aqua Girl instead of Aquaman. Fun fact. And I meant to tell you this. Do you know
that his daughter?
It is his daughter, but the woman who voices her is the Little Mermaid, like the actual.
Way.
The woman who plays.
They had
Aqua
to do that on purpose.
It was great, dude.
Going over my file?
Aqua Girl.
You can call me Marina.
Marina. It's all a bit overwhelming. I don't think I got off to a good start today.
Give it time. Everyone's been on edge since Micron's accident.
I'm sorry.
Occupational hazard, I guess. Want to join me for a swim?
Thanks, but I've got to cram. This league stuff's still new to me.
Well, because Little Mermaid came out around that late. It came out in the 90s.
No, the first movie was 89.
No.
Yeah, 89.
Damn.
So yeah, and then there's Warhawk, and Warhawk does not like Batman at all.
But I liked his character because it's like he wasn't so trusting of him that like he was. When they prove that
so you find out that there's a mole on the team.
Yes.
Yeah, and you got to find out between the two episodes who's the mole.
Yeah. Well, the first episode ends with Warhawk dying. You
quote,
watch him die. He
blows in the sky.
I was like, what the fuck? Like it was crazy. And then
you see the laser come from off screen and it hits him.
Well,
and then he dies.
You don't see it. You just see the missile explode, and then. When Terry's doing his detective work, he slows down the video and he's like, dude, he's like, there's a laser. Where's this laser coming from? Fucking Superman laser eyes. And then Warhawk comes out from the shadows. He's like, once Terry approached me with this evidence and all this happened, like he trusted him immediately.
Yeah, Barda. Calm down. The kid's right.
Warhawk! How did you...
I wasn't in the armor. I was operating it by remote. That's the only reason I'm not dust right now.
Very shrewd. Not like you.
Tell me something. What made you decide to get out of the armor?
The emergency call, and me being the only one who got it. With everything that had been happening around here, I got suspicious. I told him not to tag along, but he disobeyed. I like that.
We must talk to Superman immediately.
You can talk. I got other plans for him.
We have to give him a chance to explain. He deserves that much.
Fine. Let him explain, and then I'll rip his arms off.
Because he didn't trust him before, for Terry to gain that evidence, to gain that trust, really turns the whole tables around to them fighting the actual villain, who is
Superman. Oh, Starro.
Yeah, I was gonna say Starro,
it's Superman, but he's being controlled by Starro.
Shocker. Starro, the first actual villain to the Justice League, is first Justice League villain again that we see as children.
It is kind of fun, and
it's a full circle.
I will say Green Lantern's cool. It's kind of more of a like hippy dippy, like meditation type.
Remember the Green Lantern?
The Green Lantern was always like he's always got his legs crossed, and he's always kind of doing the Zen type thing, and he's the small bald kid.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So already I'm a fan. And then, like we said, there's Aqua Girl, who's voiced by Ariel. So that was fun. My honorable mention for that is going to be Out of the Past. And it's episode 5 of season 3. This was a really cool episode. Santi's not a big fan of it.
Which one was this one again?
That's the one when Raish and Talia.
Yeah, it's just like I love Ra's al Ghul, and like I didn't like the episodes of him in the Batman animated series either.
It's funny because we last saw Raish, I want to say, leaving, because you have to remember Batman Beyond came out before the new Batman Adventures where they did the season 3 change, because technically Return of the Joker is the 3rd movie of the DCAU. So when Mask of the Phantasm, Sub-Zero, Return of the Joker,
and then Batwoman.
So for that, it's like the last time we saw Raish was he had tried to siphon Superman's powers, and then they left him in a desert walking off with a limp leg. And it was kind of like it didn't seem like he was going to be causing that much problems anymore. But for them to bring him back, and you start off with the episode, Bruce, this is kind of cool, and I'm going to play this clip too. Bruce is on the back computer, and he's flipping through all the former loves of his life. So it's Andrea Beaumont from the Mask of the Phantasm.
Great fucking best movie
Lois
ever.
Lane from the crossover with Superman.
Which was awesome.
And this is so intricate. A picture of Barbara Gordon pops up. And when that pops up, he stops for a second. Oh, obviously, I want to say Selena Kyle's in there, too. Don't forget about Catwoman. But one of the last ones he looks at is Barbara Gordon. And while he's looking at her, Talia walks in, still looking young, like she's never aged a day in her life. And
the daughter of Ra's al Ghul.
And she looks at Bruce, and I'm going to play this voice clip. And she goes, "I always knew that you loved her."
What?
I know you loved her. But I cannot believe you did not save a picture of me as well.
Talia.
Happy birthday, Bruce. Roast pheasant with truffle risotto. Just like we shared in that little bistro in Milan.
I can't eat that anymore.
I'm sorry, I didn't think.
He kind of quickly turns it away.
He's like,
yeah, no, I
He's
didn't.
like watching dirty porn.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh, what are you talking about? I don't love anyone. And, Talia's back. She looks young. She's like, I can help you become young again. It'll help Gotham, because if you're young again, you can help Terry, and the two of you can protect Gotham. And
I honestly, I didn't think he was going to do it.
Yeah, but something happened where he's like, I can't protect anyone anymore, so I'm going. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And she's like, we figured out a way to stop the Lazarus pit from causing utter craziness.
Yeah.
So they make him young again.
But then it's revealed that, like, oh, we're actually going to use your body for Ra's al Ghul's consciousness. Like,
yes. What you find out is, him and Talia, it's actually really gross because, like, they really cuddle up, and she's, like, hugging him and, like, kissing him on the cheek.
That's right. It's like,
she's like,
literally, like, I'm Ra's al Ghul.
calls Batman lover numerous times throughout the episode, and then just randomly he's like, "It is I, Batman, detective," and then he's like stops. He's like, "I kissed the dude." It's
Bruce.
I heard him, Talia. Where's Raish?
I did not want you to find out this way, but I suppose what is done is done.
Detective.
And you find out that Raish had basically forced Talia to give up her body in the utmost test of loyalty.
Yeah.
And so Talia's no longer a thing. Her consciousness is dead. Like, it's Raish in Talia's body.
Yep.
And so Bruce and Terry have to team up, take him down. And at the end of the episode, Bruce starts deteriorating again. And he's like, I should be back to my old self.
In a couple of weeks,
a couple weeks. So those are my 2 picks. I think we just got you left, right?
Yeah. All right. So my pick, like I said, I think The Call was part 1 and 2 was probably the best episodes of season 3. But I ended up, for my number 2, I chose the Inkling. Again, Ink, she's my favorite villain in Terry's Rogues Gallery. It's her final debut. Turns out she has a daughter, goes to Terry's school. Like, what are the odds? And it turns out part of the reason why she does all these heists and stuff is she's sending money to her daughter. And she gets weakened. I forget somehow. She gets weakened, and she, like, finally, after all these years, goes to her daughter for some help. And she's like,
I was young. Younger than you are now. The police were after me. I had to run.
Why didn't you take me with you?
I couldn't. You were only a baby. But I made sure I always sent money to your guardians.
They told me my trust fund was an inheritance. I never thought I was living on stolen money.
That money put a roof over your head. You had new clothes, enough to eat. It's more than I ever had as a child.
Is that why you let them turn you into a biohazard? For money?
Yes. For money.
She's like, I can't believe you existed. I didn't know I had a mother. And she's like, who do you think was just randomly putting like thousands of dollars in your bank account? She's like, I don't know. I just thought I was like born lucky. And she's like, no one's born lucky, kid. Like, blah, blah, blah. They end up doing a heist together. What do you know? Her daughter backstabs her. Terry has to defeat Ink again. They kind of made it seem like she died because I think her weakness is water.
It is.
Or yeah. And like she drowns or some shit, but like they make it seem like, oh, she could come back. And Terry, like, the daughter gets put in witness protection program. She's all happy and she's rich. And then Terry's like, yo, you're going to have to watch your back for the rest of your life. And she's like, nah, like, whatever. Like, fuck my mom. I don't care. And then, like, the wind starts blowing and a tree's shadow starts moving and the daughter gets so scared and the episode ends. So you're like left to believe, like, is Ink alive?
Oh.
Is like the daughter's just going to be looking over her back for the rest of her life?
Mm-hmm.
Sucks to suck, but that's what you get when you betray family. I honestly like felt bad for Ink because like,
yeah, they humanized her.
I didn't know that she was providing for her daughter
Yeah.
that whole time.
Yep.
And she's like, I'm your mother, like, help me, help you. Like, let's do this one last heist together and then we can like run off like mother
again
daughter.
You can kind of equate it to once again Spider-Man with the Sandman and what he does for his daughter, and like, you know, the fact that he's a powerful villain.
I thought it was fucked up that the daughter, like, because it wasn't like fuck you mom, I always hated you. She literally just did it out of greed because she was spoiled. Little did her mother know that she was just creating a spoiled like brat.
Yeah. And another cool thing is with all the new Rogue Gallery that we get, I will say that Ink is probably the most.
Yes.
Well, obviously
Shriek.
Blight is the most dangerous.
Oh, dangerous? Yeah.
But I would say Ink gave him the hardest time because she does that thing where like she crawls in your mouth all the time,
and,
all
like,
the
you
time.
can literally just suffocate you.
I just remember always being like,
ugh.
ugh.
Yeah, because the noise too would be like,
you know what it sounds like.
You down to talk about your favorite villains?
Yeah, let's go into it.
I would say Ink, but close. Blight would have been my favorite, but they killed him off so quickly. I thought he was cool, Lex Luthor type with radiation. Kind of reminded me of Doctor Doom a little bit. But I really liked Blight, but they killed him off, so I'd say Ink, and because she, like, Terry, it was never an easy fight for Terry.
No.
He would struggle
He struggled every time he fought her.
Shriek, I like Shriek.
The only problem with Shriek is that whenever like they do quick, like, oh, you know, like if they're showing a quick battle in the beginning of an episode or something like that, and the way to take Shriek out, he's very similar to Shocker from Spider-Man. You just take out his gauntlets.
The other day.
I was like, take out his gauntlets, and he's pretty useless because they do that. They take out his gauntlets, that you just throw batarangs into the two things, and he's got no powers. But Ink can transform at will all the time.
What I liked about Shriek's episodes was like the first time he debuts, he was his own wrongdoing.
Mm-hmm.
He destroys his hearing. He's the reason why he can't hear anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then he makes those gauntlets. He makes his suit so that he can hear.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time you see him, and honestly, like, it reminded me that he's like now deaf because without the suit he can't hear, and like his assistant whenever was like talking to him, and he was just tinkering away. And he's like, "Did you hear me talk with you?" And he's like, "Dude, I can't like hear anything right now. It's like quiet." But I think it was the third time. What I liked about his third episode was you didn't realize he was the villain because he was using like hyper microsonic sound waves to like destroy targets. Where like you couldn't hear the sound wave until it was too late, until like you exploded or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he was destroying like buildings with like this special machine that would just send vibrations.
Yeah, I was impressed with how he was able to like bounce the vibrations.
Yes.
Because in that episode we talked about
single out like whatever target he wanted. Because they had no idea who was doing it. They're like, dude, like who's doing this? And then like it's revealed like, oh, I have this machine underground, old Gotham. Like, oh, Shriek, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, underground. Yeah, so that was the Where's Terry episode where he goes underground. Yeah, he goes underground again.
Okay.
And he finds a kid that's been living underground there, and Shriek's basically like, I'm gonna kill both of you.
Yeah. So as much as Nick roasts Shriek, I think he's a pretty cool villain.
Yeah, I just like giving you a hard time. I would say because you could easily give me a hard time. One of my favorite villains, Ink is number 1. Blight would be number 2.
Yeah.
And number 3 for me is going to be Bloodsport. And I know you could sit there and say that he's just a cheap copy.
He's not Bloodsport, he's
Stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, the episode is called Bloodsport.
Because Bloodsport is a completely different villain.
Essentially, he is like Kraven the Hunter.
Yep.
At the beginning of his episode, he shows up, but he's like filthy rich, and he buys out this mansion and something way high up in the sky, and then he just like derobes, and he's just got like basically a loincloth, and he grabs the spear, and he's
Nick
like,
just
well,
likes staring
I'm
at that
going
loincloth. That's why he likes.
I was like, I didn't know they could be that big.
But and like I said earlier, I think as a kid, my favorite villain was Spellbinder, just because his outfit looked cool. But like watching as an adult,
he does have the coolest outfit.
He's
for sure.
kind of lame.
Yeah,
literally just DC's Mysterio.
And I do like Blight too, because I used to have the action figures, and if you put like Blight underneath the light and then shut off the light, he would glow.
Rhyme with bright one more time.
Bright, light, sight, might, tight.
All right, and on that note,
yeah, I think that's it. I have nothing else. Do you?
I'd. Do
you want to summarize?
Not roasting the show at all, but I think it's just out of the 3 DC animated shows we've done, it's my least favorite.
So
far.
And
I thought it was Superman was gonna be my least favorite, but I enjoyed Superman more than Batman.
Yeah, dude, Superman had really good writing in it.
What do you have to say?
When the series came out, the premise was really unique.
I remember
cool,
I loved it when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God, future Batman.
Yeah, and even
Bruce Wayne training a younger Batman. Like,
Paul Dini and Alan Burnett and Bruce Timm, they flat out said like, yeah, dude, this show was meant to sell toys. It did a fucking good job.
A lot of cartoons are meant to sell toys.
And this not only was this meant to sell toys, but it still had moments where the show could be written really well. Whereas, like, I want to say Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series weren't really meant to sell toys.
I think it was more like to make a fan base at that point.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess we'll next go into, we're going to skip
Static?
Zeta.
Hell yeah, we're going to skip Zeta. Fuck you, Zeta.
If you guys really want to go into it, we're going to, and maybe I can wean Santi down eventually over time, but we're going to jump into Static next. And I've already started watching a few episodes. So
I took a break just to catch up on Justice League.
Yeah, I can't wait for that either.
I know.
Guys, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning into the Flashback Cartoon Hour. We got more episodes coming your way. You can find us on all platforms for podcasts. I'm talking Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible. We're on it. Look for the Orange TV. Hey, that's me. All right, guys. And remember the 3 golden rules.
Oh, God.
Tell them, Santi. What are those rules?
Fucking don't litter.
Nope.
Be good to yourself.
No.
Fuck planet Earth.
Fight the planet.
Yeah.
Keep polluting. And
be good to yourself.
Punch children. And be good to yourself.
All right. We love you guys.
Love
Stay
you.
safe.
Good night.
Good night. Inc. escapes again. Shocker.
No,
She'll
that's
come
a
back.
Spider-Man villain.
Shut up! I knew. I've said Shocker like 5 times in this episode,
and
I've
let it slide.
been waiting for you to say something.